Somewhere in a product spec, there is a line that reads, "Default off." It was probably typed in a hurry, late at night, by an engineer just trying to clear a ticket. Development teams tell themselves a comforting fiction about this exact moment. They assume an unset toggle is a completely neutral state, and that leaving a feature off simply declines to make a choice for the user. The reality of human behavior proves otherwise. Inertia dictates most outcomes, meaning the single most important user of any product is the one who never opens their settings menu at all. Because almost nobody bothers to change a preset option, doing nothing always resolves to an active choice made on the user's behalf. Neutrality is an absolute illusion. If a team does not author the resting state deliberately, they accidentally dictate their privacy, their personal wealth, and the health of millions of people. To see how this scales beyond a designer's workspace, we can look at the real-world consequences of an unset toggle, starting with personal wealth. This bar chart shows participation in workplace retirement plans. When a company changes the initial setup from an opt-in requirement to automatic enrollment, participation jumps from well under half to roughly 90%. And when we map out organ donation rates across Europe, the stakes escalate from personal savings to human life. Look at the stark contrast between two very similar nations. Germany sits at a 12% participation rate, while Austria rests above 99%. These countries share near identical levels of altruism. The only variable separating them is the resting state of the consent form. Germany requires an active opt-in, while Austria relies on an opt-out. This effect scales all the way up to global energy systems. When household electricity providers pre-select a green energy tariff, adoption climbs from about 7% to roughly 70%, a tenfold swing. Across all these massive societal shifts, underlying human preference remained exactly the same. Inertia, rather than active intent, quietly decided the final outcome. Corporations place a staggering monetary value on this behavioral silence. When the courts declared Google an illegal monopolist, they didn't fixate on the quality of its search results. They focused on the $10 billion Google paid Apple every single year, specifically to remain the pre-selected engine on millions of devices. Because a lazy preset deliberately harvests this user passivity, regulators are increasingly willing to classify it as a manipulative dark pattern. Under European GDPR mandates, courts have explicitly ruled that a pre-ticked box and user silence cannot legally signify genuine consent. Apple weaponized this legal shift into a core feature with app tracking transparency. By requiring an explicit opt-in rather than assuming silent permission, they effectively deflated a massive data industry overnight. The most expensive and highly contested real estate in the entire technology sector is the single setting that nobody bothers to change. But reducing defaults to a legal loophole misses the point entirely. These are core design objects, and they belong squarely in the concept phase of product development. Influential voices like Don Norman established long ago that a well-crafted physical object should naturally steer human behavior. The design itself must make the right action the easiest one to take. A great default is the ultimate expression of that idea. It is an act of deep design intelligence, authored by a team willing to take total responsibility for the user's silence. These design decisions belong in the concept phase because they are cheap as sketches, but brutal once tooled. That is why Depix design intelligence is so essential. It provides the foresight required to examine a product from every angle, long before the heavy machinery of implementation begins. If you do not deliberately design for the person who never opens your settings, someone else's carelessness certainly will.